Okay, thank you everyone for attending. Let me put again the timer. So let me first talk about me. For those that don't know me, I'm Pedro Baeza, the co-founder and CTO of Tecnativa. I started to use OpenERP, the FAR OpenERP 5 version in 2011. And the former Spanish Odoo Association president and current board member, and also former OCA board member that most of the current ones know me, and also an active OCA contributor. You can see me around on GitHub. Now a bit about my company, Tecnativa. It was founded in 2016 as a gathering of Odoo experts who were already working with Odoo a long time ago. It's focused on providing integral service. All development are OCA driving, meaning that OCA is the first target for everything. And our main principle is if something cannot be achieved through Odoo, let's do it that to be feasible to do it with Odoo instead of relying on other technologies. Now, what I pretend to achieve with this talk? Well, first expose an opinionated side over current Odoo ecosystem, and the main word here is opinionated, is on my opinion, and we will have later a discussion, a debate for seeing if you share my view or you can add another point of view, another points over this. So I pretend to be this a bidirectional conversation. First of all, I have this presentation, but after this, let's talk about it. I also want to show the advantages and disadvantages of each approach. If of the possible business models I'm presenting, all have disadvantages, but also advantages. So I will try to be neutral, being opinionated, but the most neutral possible way. And also making some possible improvements on the model, but convenient people must hear these tips and take it into account or not. And also give our as Tecnativa success recipe that for now is working well for us. And finally, this debate. So let's start trying to profile the types of business inside Odoo. First one is the enterprise reseller. We will go with each of them later. This is only a summary. Then the enterprise consultant, that can be the enterprise way. We can talk about enterprise way. But after that, you have also an APPS reseller, implementator with their own module layer, OCA-friendly implementator, and finally, a special case that is migrations specialist. So let's start directly to the enterprise, to the hot stuff. And the first one is the enterprise way talking. This is non-Odoo SA, non-literal words. Your company focuses on providing services to your customers, while Odoo SA focuses on managing the issues related to inner parts, to the internals. So it seems to be the more natural way, no? Isn't it? And having this into mind, the first profile is to be merely a reseller. So you concentrate on promoting Odoo Enterprise and on managing to sell Odoo SA services based on enterprise licenses. Advantages of this profile. Well, starting from zero is not a problem. go to the street and find possible customers. The training is provided by Odoo SA itself. Technical support is also done by Odoo SA, and you don't need to hire technicians. And you get a potential commercial visibility through the partner list. You enroll on the partnership program, and you can get this visibility directly for not having to go to the streets. And a philosophical one, that is, you are contributing money to the company that provides this excellent software that gathers all together here. Disadvantages. Well, the first one is, for starting with all of this, you have to start paying. It's not something it's easy, but not free. You need to pay to be partnership, the partnership fee, also the enterprise license cost, and so on. And besides, you need to conduct at the beginning your own marketing activity, because you will be a ready partner. What is the name? Yeah, I'm a ready partner, I think. The first step. No, learning partner, yeah. And you are not yet listed on the partner list. So at the end, the visibility is only achieved from some level, not from the beginning. The partner selection criteria or partner level is solely based on number of sales, not on quality. I would dig more on this after this slide. It's done in a good way, because potential customers think that those on the higher level and the more quality experienced ones. Well, risk of going this way. Well, what makes you different from the rest of the resellers that are in the market? You don't have any differentiation advantage that the customer prefers you over others. And having Odoo Online and Odoo SH, why the customer will care about me as a mere reseller? You have also this risk that you are bypassed by Odoo SA itself and not receiving customers at all. And one of the requirements for gaining a higher partnership level is based on the licenses renewal number, which implies the risk of not achieving it. So we will also dig later on this. That is what worries me more. And some news, we are not partner anymore, Alternativa, and we are not selling anymore enterprise. And this is, I'm not sure if this is the correct translation, but I think all of you are going to understand this, this sentence. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is a saying, a Spanish saying, that means that when you put all the eggs on the one basket, if the basket gets broken, you lose all the eggs. So, well, something to think on it. Let's go with the partnership levels. I believe that the real quality is not measured, really, with these partnership levels. As said, it's only based on the number of licenses you are able to sell in two criteria: the renewal ones and the new ones, and the ones that gets renewed. But it's not really measuring the real quality. We can see other systems that are more tiny in the market than us, like SAP and company, and they have very good metrics about the quality that is measured on percentage of issue tickets that customers put about problems, that measure if everything goes okay or not. So why not using that grace? Well, at the end, we will end up with all our economical reasons, not other ones. This word, I was about to put a harder word here, but let's say only degraded agents network, because we all know there are very opinionated also partner selection for the leads they receive. And something that I consider a bit dishonest is they are pushing very hard for long-term contracts, 2, 3, or 5-year contracts, but with zero refund policy that is not clarified from the beginning. And we have received a lot of bounce customers saying we are not yet started with Odoo. From 2 years we start the project, and Odoo SA is not refunding our enterprise licenses, even for this time, or paying some kind of penalty, but no, they have to keep their 5 years licenses. So I think this is a big issue. More things. If you make some maths, you will find that the required numbers of your employees for staying in the same level are not feasible. Well, the required numbers for staying in the gold partner, silver partner, and so on, is not feasible to get it without recruiting more and more employees each year. It's a simple proportional or even exponential if you get to some level, that the only way to comply with this is to hire each year person. It depends on the grade. The goal have on my own accounts. I calculate that you need 5 employees more per year to keep the current numbers of gold members. If they don't still high up these levels, you know that has been two changes and being more strict. So is this what you want for your company? It's good to rise and to get a higher volume, but I think this is not feasible to be kept on time. So at the end, you will be degraded to silver, to ready, or even to learning if you don't keep this pace. And it's not easy to be done. So at the end, you will find that 1 year are gold, another silver, another, you get also gold because you have some 5 years of these licenses and you get more, and so on. But it's not something that can be maintained over time. Another thing I personally find is that the rescue implementation don't count for one of the metrics, for the new licenses requirement. I don't know if this has changed or not, but it's very unfair, because I'm the one finishing the sheet from others, but I don't get any kind of reward for my job that I'm doing, and being removed from the silver level that I was. So I consider this very unfair. Not sure if this is something that can be considered, and it's difficult to measure which level you are rescuing the customer. Maybe it's almost finished or not. So I have to admit that it's not easy to measure also this, but the problem maybe is on the metrics itself. That is the not correct one. I know that a lot of partners are asking for having pure metrics that is based on the money you receive from this partner, coming from new implementation, coming from renewals. It doesn't matter. At the end, you can be on one level. If you are only based on numbers of economical numbers, let's go to that one. So that's another suggestion I'm making on the claiming on the sky for that. Well, as said, I don't know, because This happened about 1 year ago or so maybe this has changed meanwhile. Do you want to make a photo? Well, let's go to a higher level. Let's not be only an enterprise reseller. Let's go to the next one, enterprise consultant. Well, you add consultant, advisory, training service to your services, to the high added value you are doing to your customers, plus development even of extension on top of this reselling activity. So the advantage is over the previous profile. Well, it's easier to differentiate from the rest of the resellers. You are adding value to your customer. And there is also extra income ways on top of the license commission. Disadvantages. Well, this is one, and Joel is not here. The actors on this are not here, but they are on these days, so you will recognize them. This happened. It's a public run. Some people shouldn't have Twitter, Elon Musk, and maybe Fabien. So Frederic Clementi from Cam to Can detects that one customer was directly stolen by Odoo SA. And Fabian said that this is because they have some free resources, because they make the computation of the needed resources bad, and they have them free. So they dedicate to do what the partners do. So not only one case, but another one about 2 weeks after, I think, no? This one, no, 1 week, 1 month. One was on 8th of April and the other on 13th of May. So I have to worry about this, because if you set some not written rules, but we respect your part of business and we make ours, that is provide this kind of services, but you change these rules without warning and on your own, well, I wouldn't be very comfortable on that dead cars game. More about the license. Well, you know that enterprise modules have a privative license. What means this? Is because the license expanding each module means that you are not able to share these expansions. Why? Because they are relying on this part, on this private part. And this means that, or you make some kind of alliance also on private to share maintenance costs, or you need to maintain this extension on your own. And you also cannot benefit from the things we are building here on OCA that has been 10 years building a very good infrastructure for, say, CI. Well, the guidelines, you can apply it, but they won't be checked by automatical checks unless you build this on your own. And the risk you have in this profile, apart from the one I have said before, is that till now the partnership requirements haven't stopped going up. So maybe next year is not 75 license, but 100 or 150. So you have the risk to not be, even if you comply with the rest, that the next year or the other year, you are no more goal, because it's impossible to get to that levels. This is not a real right now problem, but maybe. And well, this is also focusing about the numbers I have said before. That is what I consider a predatory situation that push you to continuously take the money and run. For getting to the numbers, you need to make a lot of implementation, new implementation, and continue. So this may provoke that you don't provide the best services around. But, well, you have to get the license quota. Let's go to another thing. Is that good for the whole environment? Not at all, but you get that quota. And you also get a strong dependency on Odoo SA resources. That's not bad at itself. That's why it's put as a risk. But right now, I think there is a problem. I don't have a slide for this because I haven't time. This is the slide. I pretend to do it while the OCA Days, but I speak too much. So I have it in my mind. More or less, well, you all of you that has passed by the enterprise support knows the SLA times and the quality of the service. That's one of the arguable things. I know that there are measures for improving this, but it's not the best situation right now. But the real risk is that they are selling 5 years of support. This is a lot of time. You are getting the money now, but you must provide the service during 5 years. So I see here a scale problem. So it's a big risk to take into account. Let's move from the enterprise, from the dark side enterprise thing. And another profile that you can get inside Odoo is, let's go to app, not reseller, it's not the best word, but app builder. And let's sell it through Odoo Store or any other Odoo marketplace. So I developed a product on top of Odoo, and I sell it through the Odoo Apps Store. The advantage, well, you focus your skills on one thing only. Let's go for this feature or this vertical sector. It allows you to get specialized customers requiring customization, which they cannot afford themselves. You all know that a customer wants one feature, but is not able to fund the full development of this feature. Well, this way you advance the development cost, and you get it through the selling of this app. You have, if everything goes well, you will have more incomes than the typical count of you requires these hours, and you get this price per hour. But what are the disadvantages of this approach? Well, you need an initial investment. For having this product, you need to make a big effort and cost to have this app. And at the end, you spend the money, and you don't have really you are not really sure about if it's going to go well or not on the marketplace. And another disadvantage is the commission cut that you have on current app store. Or if you don't put it there, you won't have enough visibility to sell it. So you are more or less trapped there, but the same is the same on the mobile market, you know, with Apple Store and Google Store. And another disadvantage that is also something that can happen is that the piracy. Someone is using your module without paying it. More disadvantages, the support of your module. You know that if you pay something, you want to get support for it. So what problem you have? In a modular system like Odoo, the problems may not be provoked by your module, but the combination of modules or another side effect that you get on this system. But you will have to deal and to verify and to make your customer visible that you are not the guilty of the problem, and this also costs a lot of money, effort and money. The Odoo version management is also a problem. If you want to be competitive, you need to put and migrate your module to each of the versions Odoo is releasing. So that's also a cost that you have to maintain over time. And well, this is more a risk, but also a disadvantage, because it's a real risk that you spend a lot of money and there is an alliance between several OCA members. Their customers fund the development, and you have an excellent system on OCA repositories for free. So your module has no value because people is going to go on first to OCA. So, or the Odoo itself is releasing these features on version 20, for example. And the other one is that this maintenance is not being shared with the community. You are the only one that are paying this. Let's go to another level. The implementator that has what some of them call it own modules layer. And this means modules that are only for their customers and they keep it in private. More or less this is this explanation. You have also the same problem about the shared maintenance cost. In Spanish, Juan Palomo, yo me lo guiso, yo me lo como. It's something that is say, hey, as you are the one using this, you are the only able to visit, to see the problems, and so on. And probably on this layer, you will have a technical depth. Why? Because if you are on your own whole, you are not able to see the rest of the things. And sometimes looking at other places makes, sometimes or a lot of times, makes better as a technical, functional, and so on. Let's go to my favorite one. OCA friendly implementator. Well, the services are provided, but you don't sell products as it, not your module layer, your own module layer, nor any APP, and your modules are released usually on the OCA ecosystem. So, as advantage, you get high-quality testing and infrastructure. The disadvantage in one part is an advantage in this one. You can also share the maintenance cost, and this is important for. I don't know if you know if Tecnativa is very high or very small, but we are only 10. It's not, we are not very small, but also not very high. And what has allowed us to have our customers and to keep a maintenance cost in a reasonable level has been OCA, because we are not doing all the work. We have to migrate a lot of modules, we have to fix the problems our customers have, but we find when we start on one version that there are already 20 modules migrated by other contributors. And we also find that the potential problems we have on our customers are already tackled by other contributors, because they don't have to pay and develop the initial solution, and they have time for this other or use case or problems. So that's a big advantage. And another one great one is the knowledge is shared. This is very important, and I can say for sure that I wouldn't be the same if all this year I wouldn't be on OCA. So I have learned a lot from other people, and as the other say, I have said, being on a hole, you don't see through it. So this makes you go up and don't be in a hole. Well, here is something a bit weird. Let's put the whole list. Yeah, the animation has been. More things. You get also free training. Also you don't see at first. You are being trained by other people, just saying, "Hey, why are you putting this?" Or if you do this, you will get this advantage. So you are being trained there. And another important thing is that you sometimes avoid technical debt, because this technical debt is because there is no linter, there is no reviewer saying that there can be this problem. And I have faced some skeptical people saying, hey, going to OCA requires more time. Well, if it's requiring you more time, it's because you have this technical debt currently. So going to OCA is showing you the technical debts, and you can tackle this. Well, if you don't want to tackle, you will spend less time, but you will have it. So let's go always OCA first, because there is also some approaches saying, I start with my customers, a beta, I deploy on it, and after that, let's go to OCA. Well, that can be late, because all these advantages won't be obtained if you only you are waiting for this last step, and it would be late for making some changes, and you will be trapped by this technical debt that you haven't caught before. And you can say, hey, if everyone is having my word there for being used, where is my advantage? Well, I can assure you that if you do this, and if you develop in OCA, you will get the big advantage of having the ability to join pieces and to see the whole picture for having an optimal installation with less cost and with better margins. So it's not a problem. For us, it hasn't been a problem to release all the modules to OCA. Let's go for a bonus on my suggestions. Another good question that is around is, we migrate or a school to migrate or not to migrate? That's the question. Well, for me, keeping all versions creates a huge technological debt. We have seen the improvement of the framework, first on version 8, then on version 13, big changes. But over each version, we are getting better on the technical part. We are getting more functional scope inside. We are getting improvements. So not benefiting this on our own for developing modules and our customers having these features as soon as possible is not the optimal approach, and also will lead you to another problems and maybe more cost. Another real problem you face is that you lack some patches, and some of them security patches, because you are on unmaintained version. Not sure if you know that Odoo only maintains the last 3 versions of Odoo. This means that from the next week, we will have version 16, 15, and 14 only. So if there is a security failure, injection, or whatever in version 13, you won't get this patch unless going again to the Juan Palomo. You are the only one maintaining this, or any other initiative, but not from the core itself. You also get, it's not only Odoo having the security issue, but it's the libraries that Odoo rely in. There is a lot of Python libraries on the bottom of Odoo, and also supported version of Postgres and so on. That has been a problem lately, because latest versions of Postgres are supported, but we all find that some library like cryptography, libsl, and so on are outdated, and Odoo itself is frozen on these requirements, and you cannot put another one, higher libraries, because you will have some incompatibilities. So you have to stick to these versions, and that's a problem that we are not very worried about, but with the European GDPR, we should, because any breach can make legal consequences to all of us as implementators. And as said, the framework evolution is amazing, and not being able to use it because you are still on Python 2 and version it's a pity. The other problem not migrating is the fragmentation. Well, some people say, hey, I only work on the 8 and 11 version, or on odd versions. But at the end, you are getting a fragmentation, having to deal with customers in version 8, version 10, version 12, now version 14. So this fragmentation provokes a big cost, because you have to deal with the not very good things that are on all versions and develop for that things. And also remembering, oh, on this version it was, on the version there is no inventory, and in this version is account.invoice. And so it's not easy also for your development team to work with a lot of versions. I'd say the consequences of GDPR. So for me, I have no doubts. Please always migrate. Your customers will appreciate it. That doesn't mean that you don't charge your customers on this, but I will see later our formula for this, because if you want to charge the customers on one shot, it's not easy to convince why they need to migrate. So let's do it another way. Sorry, this is a sneak peek of later slides. And more of this. Well, the same thing. To update or not to update on the same version. You all know that if you are on version 14, the version 14 of today is not the version 14 of 1 month later, because there are patches and so on. So please don't freeze installation, or program and schedule update system for having also on your latest same version. Let's go for the last profile I have extracted from my vision of the Odoo ecosystem. That is, let's go to be a migration specialist. Having this landscape, I can say, hey, I'm going to be specialized and perform migration within major version as a subcontracting work. other implementation only care about the same version and hire me for doing the migrations. Well, the advantage is that it's the need is there, and you will have, for sure, a high demand. The main disadvantage, you are dealing with something that is not yours. You don't know the state you are going to receive the DB. So you have, as said, there can be grown in a lot of ways. So you have to be prepared and assume what that means, that you will have to dig a lot on data, on the decisions on custom modules and so on to get to a satisfactory result. So that's not easy also. So, in my opinion, again, what is the ideal situation to become an integral services supplier, being OCA friendly, and executing modules migrations, joining all existing pieces together in order to give a customer a unique whole experience package in a simple and suitable price. Well, too much to, well, let's split this thing. Most of them has already been talked about OCA friendlies, do module migration. Let's see what I'm talking about, this package, simple and suitable price. So with this, our success recipe has been, first of all, hire technicians. Sorry, but this sentence about you don't have to hire technician people. You have to hire consultants. I hardly disagree. You need technicians, or at least this is my success recipe. You have to work on all versions, not to stick to one of them, or this is our approach, or the most you are able to. Don't think Tecnativa migrates all customers version per version. No, some customers goes through 10, 11, 12. Another one requires some more time and migrate from 11 to 13 or for 10 to 12, but that's something that the project demands, not because your business model consists on sticking to one version to have margins and so on. Migrate your customers. It's not only the version you start in. You can start right now on version 15, 16 not yet. On several months you can implement version 16, why not? Because there is a lot of new features that are interesting from for your new customers. But once you are there, then don't stop it there. Migrate it and continuously have it on the latest possible version. But the main key is this one. I have seen on the landscape a lot of companies that are based on a revenue based on the initial implementation or developments they do for improving the implementation. Why not turning this in a recurring service that makes you gain some money in advance that allows you to then perform the migrations without cost? That can be done, can be understandable for the customers. You are paying proportionally for getting these extra things, and then you deliver this migration, simplifying what is inside and what not. I compare this experience with when there is no plain telephone rates, that you know that you have to say, hey, what is the current hour? Because I have different rates depending on the hour. And I'm calling to my province or to another country and so on. When all of this goes out and you only have to worry, I'm paying a fixed fee and I have these calls. So you are going to be more, you will be happier as a customer, and you don't have to worry if this is something that enters, how much time is going to take to repair this, or so on. So put it simple also for your customer. And this one is to package the fee, including all these services. And this is what Tecnativa is doing with the whole customers. And this is another bonus. You cannot do it, some of them yes, and some other not. Because on that scale, on that scheme, you are not going to scale well. Your maintenance cost for supporting all these things requires that all your customers be in the same approach. Okay, so the last one, a bit of joke from the typical one. So let's do open source software, please. So this is all. So now I'm open to any question, any things to debate. You can come here if you want. It would be even preferable, Virginie, do you have any microphone for the streaming people that...
It's not here.
Maybe inside? No? Yeah. No? Sebastian, come here and you can talk. Yeah.
So first, thank you, Pedro. I will say that I agree a lot of everything I see on this presentation. Acquisition was a partner a long time ago, a gold partner, but we stopped it because even if we have a lot of experience, we are going to be a ready partner because we have customer we focus for us. When you have a customer, it's for 10 or 20 years. And the more time you have, the more customer you have. And it's really hard to have new project because you still work for old customers. So it's really hard to every year sell new stuff. So we stop for the same reason. One thing I would ask is, you migrate your customer, but do you migrate every year your customer? What is the frequency for migrating your customer?
I said it depends on the project.
Okay.
When they get some level, you are not able to migrate, not for you, that technically are able to do it, but for the customer itself. Yeah. But our frequency at maximum has been 3 versions, and only in 2 cases. The rest are migrated bi-yearly, or a smaller one, or maybe they have an open mind, and we are able to migrate version per version. Okay. So maybe about 30% are migrated version per version. They are the smallest one, or as said, medium one, but with this mind. Most of them, of the rest, are migrated bi-yearly, and in exceptional cases that are not technical decision, but political ones, because they have also seasonality. I'm not sure about that. They have seasons with a very high workload, so they are not able because they are 24 hours working. So sometimes you get one of these cycles and you are not able because their sales cycles are 4-5 months. So you have to wait a bit more, and these exceptions has been 3 versions. For example, for version 11 to version 14, we have migrated recently 1.
Okay.
Okay.
And just to share some experience, on our side at Acquisition, we also start to sell monthly the maintenance and the migration. Because what say Pedro is that, for example, for the maintenance, you need to update the customer database every week or every 2 weeks, depending but you need to update it because there is change in OCA module, there is change in Odoo module, and all of this change can break some part of your custom project. So you need to charge the customer to take time to do this update, and also you need to charge it to improve the code of the customer, because the custom module. Because when you start a project, the customer says, I want this, I want this, I want this. But 6 months later, it just realized that some processes have changed, etc., and 1 year later, there is some code that nobody uses anymore. And if you do nothing, you're going to wait for the migration, and when you do the migration, what the hell is this code? What is doing? Should migrate it or not? You don't know. And you spend your time, you waste your time, and you are going to do mistake for this code that nobody uses. So you need to charge the customer to improve the quality of the code, like you do in the OCA. In the OCA, everybody improves the code. You do the same with the custom module. You need to have time to improve it. And you need to teach your customer that we give some images to the customer, because for the customer, line of code, if they don't know what is a line of code, it's okay, it's something. But we have done some statistics, and we say, okay, imagine you take a reporter book, and when your project is like all of the OCA modules is quite all the Harry Potter book that we have installed in your project. So imagine that every day you have 5 change in your project. So imagine every line of code that can break the story of this book. So you need to explain to your customer that maintaining have a cost. And one thing that I really like that Odoo have done is that on their website they put a price per line of code. And I think it's something good because it starts to explain to customer that maintaining is not free. It's not because you have an open source software that it's free. You have to do the maintenance. You have to improve your code. So you have to explain this to your customer. It's hard. But
let's talk about this, the price per line of code.
Yeah.
That's another problem with current metrics. Why? Because we all know that a medium installation requires 100 of OCA modules, and more or less the same of Odoo SA and maybe enterprise modules. But that 100 OCA modules needs to get migrated, needs to be, the data of them needs to be migrated, and the enterprise services is not covering unless you pay, but you pay a lot. But it's not the same maintaining an OCA module very well maintained and known than a module that is from the app store or custom or whatever. So something that Odoo may improve here is to not put the same price for these known modules than for the rest of them. Only apply the metrics by lines of code when the module is not known. But there can be some kind of packs for these modules. But, well, I know it's not easy also to price these things, and there is a risk also. So the best option is to put a price per line of code. But at the end, I doubt someone has sold this, has bought this service, because it's impossible to maintain the fees it gets to. So I think that can be another thing that would make the enterprise service more attractive. But for now, we make this kind of packs, so our customers are priced according the number of modules. Not the number, which modules they have installed, and because it's not the same saying 20 modules with one line of code, but we already have for all the OCA modules where we are installing, we have a price for them. And that price is based on the complexity of the module, which parts is intercepting, because you know it's not the same. Make a patch on base model for all the. So we take this criteria and end with a price, saying for this module per month you have this fee, and the sum of all the fees gives the maintenance price for the customer. Anything more?
Just to complete what you we stop after. But we do quite kind of the same thing, but we define a price per line of code, but we say, okay, if it's an Odoo module, we don't have to do a lot of maintenance, but we have to do a lot of work for migration because we want to contribute to open upgrade. If it's an OCA module, we don't have to charge a huge price per line of code because it's OCA. And if it's custom, now it's not to be expensive. So the customer also learned that, okay, if I ask stupid, useless thing in custom, then it costs me a lot, and it's better to take time to have a better budget for doing generic module and service module than just pushing for just a small change in the custom.
Thank you. Gonzalo? Yes, please.
So, okay, here.
Yeah.
So, First of all, thanks for the talk. It's good to have like talks referring to customer acquisition and maintenance. We always talk a lot about code and stuff. I think it's so important to maintain the community. One question that I had, didn't you think about in the same ecosystem that you could use enterprise as a product also, not as a service, but as a product, put OCA modules also, work with recurring revenues, but integrating it as a product for some customers, maybe for some not, and maybe because you make use of the upgrading service that they have and it costs you less, maybe it could mix with the process, right?
We tried on the whole pack, but there is a big problem, the open source part. Right. Not being able to share the extensions we are providing ends up with doing no extension to that part. So this also restricts the possibilities of the modules, and at the end we finalize having enterprise customers with no enterprise module put.
Right, but
even the enterprise responsive thing, because I like more the OCA one.
Right.
Yeah.
But it could be like side modules. Maybe you could develop them or not. But what I see is like if you see enterprise as a service, I think it's a crappy one. The technical service, the back service, I think it's not good. But if you think it as a product, maybe you'll end up, some customers could make profit of it, and it's not that bad.
I don't see that because of the extensibility thing.
Right, that's an issue.
But also, there is also economical things, computation here. Right. What provides the enterprise product, the enterprise modules? On a lower initial price, you are getting the features.
Right.
But at the end, the recurring cost makes you that the raw return of investment goes back on 2, 3, or maybe 5 years at maximum. So you have to balance and say, hey, developing this on OCA costs initially a lot more, right, but you can make also synergies with other OCA members, with your own customers, right, and get to a reasonable initial development cost. Right. But with this, your maintenance cost will be lower, not as company, to your customer, right, because they don't have to pay for each user, right, for that, right, APP. So that's also a problem. The current enterprise fee criteria, mixing APPs plus users, for me change, is right, a problem, yeah, because
it will change now, right? So.
What?
Yeah,
if it improves to better?
I don't know if it's better, but they will change it. They will
but
say
if it's removing the APP part, it's, yeah, getting the worst part. Well, because what I don't like is the user per user, right, cost. Because
going that
imagine you have a workload that requires you to hire 30 people more.
Right.
You have to pay this having the same features.
Right.
So that non-proportional to the fourth part is what chills me out about this system also. So you
It's a big
you
topic.
join one and another, and that's why I get to
But we
to
will
this
continue
one.
it after beer. So thank you for your time, Pedro.
Frederick, don't know, in my timer is right now the hour, but I think, is there any other talk in Virginia? There is one. Do you allow the Frederick's question? No? As you prefer. No, Frederick? Okay, so if anyone more? Yes?
I just wanted to make up one point. I think the pricing of the lines of code pricing that Odoo is publishing is just an inhibitory pricing that should discourage the use of these modules. So simply is that. So I think that nobody's using it because it's so expensive.
Yeah. So, thanks all for attending my talk. I hope this serves for opening a discussion, and I'm available for continuing with beers and these topics. So, thanks to all.